Good morning, Up with People world, or afternoon or evening, wherever you might be. My name is Donna Reed. I traveled in Cast A 1976 and worked on costumes for a few years with a few of you. And this morning in the Cactus Lounge, I am welcoming Greg Rawls, who I know nothing about. So Greg, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining. So my friend Barb Smith Gutierrez, is the one that gave me your name. And she just said she thought you were an interesting man. So
That's very kind.
tell everybody here, I kind of start with, where you're from, where you saw a show, and maybe how you got involved in Up with People to begin with.
From South Carolina.
Okay.
I'd finished, was in the middle of my first year at University of South Carolina. Saw a thing in the paper that Up was coming to town. Had some vague memories from the TV special a couple years earlier. Went to see the show, thought it was incredible. Wasn't really enjoying college that much at that point, so I thought, let's try an alternative. So I applied, got accepted, convinced the folks to let me go. Took a lot of effort there.
Yeah.
Great year, and came back and went back to college and finished it all up.
So you did the epitome of the gap year thing before we even called it that. That's
I didn't know it had a name at the time.
No, I don't think it did. And what year was that? What cast did you travel in?
75A and 75B. We were the bicentennial year.
Right.
And I was in the college cast, and they used to have it split up. And then the second semester, they merged us all together in the same cast.
Okay. That year, that's the year I saw a show. I was a senior that year in high school. So I saw Cast C. And when I remember somebody saying to me, because they spent so much time in Ohio, the old John Denver song, I spent a week there one day in Toledo, Ohio. And I know that they were all so tired of Ohio. The small cast. So was Cast B at Blossom Center in Cleveland when several casts got together and did a great big show there?
No.
Okay. I don't know. I'll have to find out sometime from somebody that was in that group because I was pretty sure it was more than one cast, but you all were divided up into such small groups that I think
it rarely came together. And I mean, we would really be in different parts of the area, the country, and don't remember that many times coming together doing the full show. And I left a little early to go back to summer school. Because in the bicentennial year, they kept the cast together well into July.
Right.
And so I was gone by early June.
Okay. That's when I think that's when our tour ended. And then they also did a summer thing because there were people that came together from some of the different groups that kept traveling in that summer. So Greg, when you joined, besides the fact that you weren't that thrilled with college at the point, were you attracted to the music? Were you attracted to the energy? Were you attracted to the why of Up with People? Like what drew you, do you think?
It looked like fun. It looked like a different experience. It looked like something that was intriguing to go different places. Didn't know at that point that we were going to be in the United States the entire time.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of a disappointment at first, but then later I saw parts of the U.S. I never would have seen otherwise. And I saw them in great depth.
Right.
So, I'm from the Southeast, never been out West. And, I've ridden a horse across the prairie doing a cattle branding in Wyoming. I mean,
awesome.
Don't give me chances to do that kind of thing. So, just a lot of exciting experiences I never would have had.
That's a really great story. I had interviewed my son on here and he traveled in 13 and he talked about some of the things that he did. Same thing in the States, predominantly some in Mexico. But I think that when we joined and we found out what cast we were in and it was all like you went to find your name and see where you were going to go on your tour. because we finished that bicentennial thing in the fall of 76. So it was the
Yeah.
same way. It was a whole lot of the US.
Yeah, y'all did the same show we did then, didn't you?
Yeah, we had very small changes in January once 76 was over. So they took out 200 years,
Yeah.
you know, and put in a couple of others. Yeah. So when you were on the road, Greg, did you end up doing PR? Do you feel like you were what they call now a basic cast member, or what?
I was a BCM. I did PR a couple of times. It was interesting. But mostly a BCM.
Okay. All right. So now you came back home and you went back to college. You went back to the same college, I assume?
Yep, University of South Carolina.
Okay. And what did you major in?
Biology. With a minor in
Biology.
chemistry. Yeah.
Okay. And then did you work in that field when you graduated?
Found out there's not much you can do with a BS in biology. So I did a lot of different things over a year, and then I went back to school and got a Master of Science in Public Health.
Oh, interesting. So has that been your career field predominantly?
That ended up being my career. I was a industrial hygiene major, a epidemiology minor,
Wow.
and so I spent the rest of my career working in industry and toxicology, safety, health, that kind of thing.
So you still took the biology, you just kind of curved it
Yeah, I just
into
specialized
another.
it.
Yeah, in an arena. That's interesting. Interesting. All right. So now I've seen your Facebook page, and are you retired from public health and doing this other career?
Yeah, I retired at 55, and so that means that's been retired for about 12 years now.
Okay.
Because other things I want to do with my life.
All right. Well, and tell everybody what some of those other things are.
Oh, well, I was living in Charleston, lived there for probably Charleston, South Carolina for about 25 years, and retired, decided Charleston was a little too big to manage in retirement.
Okay.
So I moved south about 50 miles to Beaufort, South Carolina, second oldest city in South Carolina, and that says a lot in our state. Got just, I've been a glass artist for a couple, probably 5 years before I retired. Got into more of that, got into more galleries and showing stuff. Got involved with a dragon boat team here in Beaufort. It was just starting up.
A what?
Been with that, a dragon boat team.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're in Arizona. You don't have water, do you?
No, we don't have a water for dragon boats. We do have a couple of little lakes that we stock with some fish, but
No, dragon boat's 42-foot boat with 20 paddlers, and you race
okay.
competitively.
Nice.
And we're a nonprofit that we raise money throughout the year, mainly with a dragon boat festival we have every summer. And all our money goes to our cancer outreach program. We do a really kind of a unique thing with the money we raise. We give grants to cancer patients for things that traditional means insurance and such doesn't cover. For example, you're diagnosed with stage 3, stage 4 cancer. You suddenly can't work. Well, you don't have an income then. So how are you paying your rent or paying your mortgage? How are you paying your utilities? And we jump in and help cover that kind of thing.
So all of the non-health stuff that still exists.
Yeah. Well, but we have also paid for prescriptions. We've arranged transportation to go to treatment. Down here, and we stay very local, just to the 3 counties right here in Beaufort. But a lot of our patients go up to Charleston to the medical university for treatment, and we take care of their transportation for them.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah,
Nice.
it's really kind of a cool way, and it fills a real gap in their lives.
Wow. And how many years ago did you do that? Did you just have a group of friends that like you decided you're going to do dragon boats and you did the nonprofit, or like did one come first?
They have a film festival here.
Okay.
And my first year in Beaufort, they showed a documentary called Awaken the Dragon. which is a documentary about the Charleston, South Carolina Dragon Boat team.
Ah,
And theirs is a very strong cancer survivor dragon boat team. So a lot of cancer survivors are on their team.
wow.
And 3 or 4 women saw the documentary and say, "Hey, we want to do that here in Beaufort." And I heard about it through the grapevine about 2 weeks later, and I'd actually paddled in dragon boats in Charleston in their festival. So I was the
Okay.
only guy in Beaufort County who even knew how to paddle a dragon boat. So
And you need
suddenly,
way more than one in a boat, right?
yeah, suddenly I'm the coach, and that's how it all started.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
we
awesome.
raised money,
So
bought boats, and all that stuff.
my lack of knowledge about the Carolinas, I told somebody this the other day, man, I mixed those two states up. I really know nothing. So are you on a river, or do you paddle in big lakes, or where do you do this?
Beaufort is on the Beaufort River, which is part of the Intercoastal Waterway. We're about 4 or 5 miles from the ocean. I
Okay.
can get to the beach in probably 20 minutes from here.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and in Charleston, we paddle on the river too. 2 rivers surround the peninsula in Charleston, the Ashley and the Cooper.
Okay. And so if a mile, 10 miles, 25 miles, do people pledge? Do people pledge? Like, I don't know anything about this. Don't laugh at me.
No. Well, for when we're racing, a race is usually about 200 meters.
Oh, like
So it's
go.
really short. It's about a minute and a half, but it's probably the most intense minute and a half you've ever had in your entire life.
Wow. I'm gonna have to find a video and watch this.
Yeah,
That's
go on YouTube. There's lots and lots of
yeah,
videos of dragon boat racing.
that's awesome. That's very
Well, the
cool.
cool thing is how many people in their 60s say, "I got a gold medal for being an athlete."
Woo,
Yeah,
that's good.
so it's fun.
We're having a chili cook-off, and we've talked about spray painting a spoon gold to have that be
Yeah.
the winner for the chili. All right, so this is going to be, I want to go back to your art because I've seen some of your glass on your Facebook page. You have your background blurred. Is there anything around you that's a piece of your glass art that you can pick up and show or share?
Not in this room. Oh, here's something that's kind of cool. You remember when not to get political, when Russia invaded Ukraine?
Oh yeah.
I wanted to show my support for Ukraine. So being a glass artist, I made a pen. This is a pendant.
A
And I
pen?
wore it. And I thought, geez, some of my friends were interested. So they said, "Hey, would you make me one?" So I made about 10. And then my gallery here in Beaufort saw it. And they said, "Hey, we decided let's sell them." And so we started making them. And they suddenly became the hottest commodity in the county. And we raised $42,000
Oh my gosh. Okay, now hold it up.
supporting
Hold it up so
Ukraine.
I can see it better.
Yeah.
And it's a pin or a pen? A pen?
This is a pendant, but we also made pin versions. This one you
Oh
wear
my
around your neck.
gosh.
And
That's really
our
neat.
town, Beaufort, has a sister city in Ukraine. And so all the money went to them. So it didn't get, eaten up by admin costs and all that stuff. So
That
yeah, I
is,
mean,
so
just,
were they like 10 bucks? I mean, what did you sell them
and
for?
we charged 20 for them. Hey, we were just sticking it to
Okay.
people. And
No, but I mean, 20 bucks, that's a lot to raise $42,000. I mean, that's
a lot
amazing.
of glass cut.
What a wonderful thing. So that's kind of one of those, you don't even know when you start it, what the impact's going to be.
No, it's just want to show support for Ukraine, and
I
it
love
just
that.
turned in. Suddenly, it's we're just making. I'm making them, and the folks in the gallery are putting
Yeah.
the pins on the back of them and selling them. And I mean, it was crazy. I mean, as fast as they could be made, they were being sold. And then
Well,
galleries up in Charleston wanted them, and I said, we we got to call it. Can't. This is too much.
so once this video posts, there's going to be up with people, alumni who performed in the Ukraine, who are going to be like, I want one of those, Greg.
Yeah.
So They,
But all I said, every penny of it, we didn't take any profit or anything. We covered all the costs ourselves.
oh,
And
nice.
so anyway, that's how, little glass art can become a major fundraiser.
That's really great. I think that's neat. And so were you interested in glass when you were younger? Was it random? Did you walk into some history museum and see it happening and
No,
decide?
I'd always been interested in glass. I learned how to make stained glass windows, thought that was fun. Then I thought, what am I going to do with all this scrap?
Ah,
And I then learned about glass fusing, which is, working with a kiln to make glass, and learned that I could not use the scrap for that purpose. But I, took some classes and started making the stuff, and then got into galleries and started selling the stuff. So
right.
yeah,
Nice.
my glass
Nice.
bowls go for a pretty nice penny up and down the East Coast.
That's super great. It's as a very non-science person, I found myself immediately wondering, okay, there's science associated with glass, right? There's
Yeah,
science
there's a
related to
lot.
temperatures. And so you come from the science background, and I like the artistic piece of it. I like the prettiness of it. I know nothing about the creation of it, and the science that goes along with that. And now in my mid-60s, I should have paid way more attention to science, but can't go back so easily. So, all right. So I also, when we were talking, you were working on a set on a show
Yeah,
theater.
I got hooked up with the theater company here in Beaufort that's sponsored by the University of South Carolina Beaufort campus
Okay,
community theater. I like to build stuff. I'm pretty good with a hammer and a saw and a drill, and
nice.
they needed somebody to build stuff, and so I started doing that about 10 years ago, and knocked out about 4 or 5 shows every year, and got
Wow.
Sound of Music opens tomorrow night.
Oh, nice. I
Yeah.
got to tell you, I credit my younger son is the only one of my three that kind of uses tools. And I think a lot of it comes from stagecraft, and part of it up with people, part of it being involved there, and just the fact that we hung lights, we took turns, we did things, like that.
Mhm.
And then and I know that there's got to be some natural ability with certain things, but he constructed a whole lot of temporary sets himself. And I think that,
Cool.
it makes a difference. So
It's fun. It's
yeah.
creative, and you get to, I mean, like, I built an 8-foot man-eating plant for Little Shop of Horrors, and um, just created a huge Austrian villa that pops on and off the stage, and an abbey, and
In and out, in and out.
giant made giant jukeboxes, and you name
That's
it.
awesome. One of my fondest memories, and I've been in Tucson 23 years, but we did community theater back in Ohio, and my kids were in Big River. Have you ever done
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
never done it, but I'm
So,
approved
and
before.
I remember it was a science teacher at the community college that helped do that set. And when the raft was on the river and they were floating, how it came out on this community theater stage and moved around like it was in the water. And I'm just fascinated by all of that, because I pretty much can't tell what a box looks like opened up and refolded.
Yeah, you
So
just figure out what you want to have happen, and you just figure out how to do it.
that's awesome. That's really
Yeah.
great. Yeah. All right. I want to go back to Up with People. And maybe a little bit more of your life. Do you have siblings? Do you have family in South Carolina?
Yeah, not in South Carolina. I'm
No.
last. Well, I have some cousins here. Actually, I'm probably related to half the state. But uh,
That's a
no,
whole Southern story,
yeah. Brother and sister live up in Virginia, and it's just me here. Me and my
Okay.
dog.
You and your
So we're
dog.
around here.
What's your dog's name?
Oliver.
Oliver. That's a good name.
Oliver, 15-year-old rescue dog from a shelter.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's very good. All right. So in Up with People, traveling around, you already mentioned the Wyoming and the branding, which is great. I remember going in a silver mine in Idaho.
Oh, and I also learned what Rocky Mountain oysters were during that day.
I was going to ask you about food. So you learned about Rocky Mountain
I learned
oysters.
about what Rocky Rock, because we collected, because that was part of the whole branding, castration. You know, it was an amazing day, and there was three of us, four of us were there. Two other people that were in PR, because we did this when we were in Lander, Wyoming,
Oh,
and
we performed in
we had
Lander.
one of the staff members had come in early, and she joined us for that day. So yeah,
Wow.
and my host said, "You know how to ride a horse?" And I said, "Yeah," because my sister had one, and I'd ridden it for her. She'd broken her arm, so I had to exercise the horse for a whole summer. And yeah, get on her English saddle and just ride it around. Yeah, I can ride a horse. I found out what that horn is for on your Western saddle. It's to hang on for dear life. That's what that thing's for.
And when you get off, are you able to walk? I mean, that's like half of it.
Yeah, that was kind of, yeah.
I think we all, part of the thing about Up With People is I think we just said yes. We just did things, right? You know?
Well, I'm here up to, how many times do you get a chance for an opportunity like that? And if you
Right.
don't take it, you're wasting your
Right.
time and Up With People.
Yeah, agreed. Have you ever had Rocky Mountain oysters again?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you come away from that adventure tasting Rocky Mountain oysters? Did you ever have them again?
No, never would. No, no,
No, that's what I
no.
wonder. Is there any food that you tasted along the way that was totally unique to your upbringing that you love?
Not really. They fed us spaghetti all the time. Yeah,
There's so many jokes about that now, especially with all the gluten-free people.
yeah.
With a
That's
lot.
just, I mean, literally everywhere you went, that's what they fed you, and it got really old. Like we were in Montana, had lamb for the first time. In Colorado, they had a game night dinner for us once, and like buffalo and things like that I'd never had.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Funny. So because your tour was predominantly in the States, have you traveled abroad? Have you ever had the desire to go somewhere tremendously that you haven't been that you'd still like to do?
Been to Europe several times. I was in the Navy, and they sent me to Japan for a while. So yeah, then when I worked for Alcoa Aluminum for most of my career, and I got sent to Europe a lot. Got sent to Iceland all the time. We were
Oh,
building a
wow.
plant there. Yeah.
Was it in Reykjavik or was it somewhere out
Well,
further
you'd
out?
fly into Keflavik, then
Yeah.
drive to Reykjavik, get on another plane, and cross the country, across the glacier, and go to Igastadur. And then you get in a car and you drive down to you got the Reyðarfjörður.
Good. Nice job.
Yeah, I can't think I can still pronounce those words. Yeah, it was quite a trip, but yeah, I'd go over there every couple of months.
That is now one of the top tourist areas. Iceland has done an amazing job of marketing themselves, including where if you had a flight that went through Reykjavik on the way to, like my son and I were on the way to Paris, you could stop for, I want to say up to 2 days, and there was no additional price tacked on to go. Now we were only there like 24 hours. But we did that. We flew through and we spent just some time in the city, the Blue Lagoon, some of the basic stuff. But more and more people are going there for adventures.
Yeah, it's probably getting inundated with tourists now, and we were the western side of the country where Reykjavik, Keflavik
Yeah.
are the civilized parts. We were
Right.
on the eastern shore, which was much more rural and far fewer people, and just
Interesting.
gorgeous place. If you ever go
Wow.
back and you get out in the country, you want to go in the late spring after the snow is melted, because there's just
Okay.
everywhere you look, there's waterfalls everywhere. It's
Nice.
gorgeous.
Nice. I remember there was a girl that took care of us at the Blue Lagoon, and most of their names, to me, it was like Finnish. I mean, you'd look at it and had no idea what their names were. And hers said like Marie or Maria.
Mm.
And we went, are you native from here? And she goes, yeah. And you're like, your name is Marie? And she goes, no, my name is blah, 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 blah. But she
Yeah.
goes, nobody can say that. So it's Marie.
Very hard language. You
Yeah.
know, I spent hours trying to, and you
Pronounce it.
know, it sounds that, you know, if you speak English as your native language, that your mouth is just not used to forming.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So,
All right. So I want to go back to the show. Were there any songs? I don't know if you've been to reunions or if you've listened to things through the years, but is there any song that really spoke to you from a music perspective? And you can't say Roads. Roads ended all of our shows, so please don't say that one.
um, yeah, I'm just having trouble remembering them. Whole Other Trip. I used to like that one. We sang that a couple
Oh
of
yeah,
times.
that was in
That
our
was
show
fun.
too.
Geez, Give the Children by the Childhood, I always thought was beautiful. I like the melodic
The more ballads.
ballads.
Yeah.
But somebody, you know, like Ripping Along, it was fun. You know, they never let me dance in front, but
No, I was
basic
I was a
cast
basic.
member.
I was also a basic cast member, trust me. And I could do square dance and
Yeah, I did that.
all join hands and circle to the left.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. That's funny. That's funny. So right now, kids have way more options. When we traveled, when we in the 70s, this was really kind of there was nothing like it, and happening. And now, kids go couch surfing, they do a semester at sea. I know somebody that just put their daughter on a semester at sea, all these different things. And I don't know if you've followed kind of the new Up With People called
Yeah,
Voices.
I actually watched the show. It
Did
ended
you?
on Facebook a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago.
So they did Mexico. I think they've been to Colombia. And what might you say to a young person if you're working at the theater and you get a kid that's in high school that comes in and doesn't want to go to college and whatever, might you be able to encourage, even though you're not 100% sure what the future looks like? Or what might you say about Up With
You
People?
mean towards a gap year?
Yeah, towards a gap year, or now for Up With People, a gap quarter.
I'm not really, I don't, how do I say this? I mean, I totally understand what happened. You know, pandemic came along, um, and they tried to reinvent Up With People to work in the current times. It's not the same experience. You know, for example, this one's all Latin America.
That's
You're
true.
not getting a lot of diversity in it. There seems to be a bit more intensive in locations. You don't go to as many places.
That's true.
Um, I was at first when I read about it, I wasn't even sure there was a show, but apparently there is. I would
It
just say there's so many gap options out there. You know,
just choose
yeah,
and go. I've been working, whatever, as much as I can to kind of see what's happening with the new Up With People. And it's never going to be what it was, when we traveled. However, there are several alumni who have children in this group who they feel are learning and living and growing exactly the same way we did. And for me, the fact that they were in Colombia, or that, they're going to some places that's kind of interesting. And I think then they'll be working on the next group, which you're right. Logistically, they're choosing places that make sense economically to stay together, as compared to, we're going to leave Mexico and fly to Scotland and then Scotland back to New York, things like that. So, and then I kind of wonder myself whether any of these kids will choose to do another three months, like 12 weeks. So will they, just like some people traveled a year and then traveled another year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years as staff, will they end up going on? It's an evolution for sure. Do you think it changed your life, Greg?
no,
No?
it was a good compliment. but, no,
Oh,
I
that's
don't make
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it changed my life. I think I would have otherwise stayed in a little town in Ohio of 500 people and never gone and done some of.
Really?
And I think that's what my parents hoped. I think they hoped that I would go do this thing and come back, and
Yeah.
it totally took me the other direction. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was always pretty, broadly, looking at the world pretty broadly. So, no,
So
it
you
was a
saw it.
good experience for me. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Would do it again if, had the opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good though. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for making it happen. And I've done 2 or 3 interviews kind of close together. So one of them I just made live yesterday. And then, so I'm trying to space them 2 weeks apart, but I'll let you know when I make it
Okay.
live. I don't know if you're on the Up With People alumni Facebook page or any of that. But okay. So for sure I'll tag you. And I appreciate it. And thanks for all you're doing. I like the Dragon Team stuff and the art. You're giving back to the world in ways that kind of out of the box, right? As compared to I'm going to just make a donation. So.
Yeah, it keeps it within my interest group, but it's fun.
Awesome.
And go on YouTube and look up dragon boating.
I'm going to. I wrote it.
You're in the Phoenix area?
I'm in Tucson. Yeah.
Tucson?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they got dragon boat teams around there. You got lakes. We paddle in salt water.
I'm gonna guess
paddling in fresh water, but
Phoenix maybe because north in the mountains there's a little bit bigger lakes, like Prescott. I'm gonna look. We'll see.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you, Greg.
All right. Thank you.